Hello everyone, this is Pal Ponder on Weather coming at you with another video. In this update, we're going to be talking about a major winter storm that's going to be impacting parts of the Dakotas and eventually into Minnesota and Wisconsin and Michigan, as well as the Northeast, but also a Southeast severe weather component to it as well. So before I do get started, if you do like weather related content, please subscribe to my channel as I will upload about 5 videos a week to keep you updated. All right, so let's get started. So first of all, I'm back. I've been gone for a week. I've been on vacation, went on a Caribbean cruise with my family. It was beautiful, like 83 degrees on Christmas Day. It was incredible. So we had perfect weather the entire time, but unfortunately, I'm bringing back a little bit of a raspy voice. But we got blizzard warning conditions to talk about now in parts of North Dakota, where we've got places like Fargo are experiencing those blizzard warning criteria where we've got sustained winds of 35 mile per hour or plus, 3 hours plus of less than a quarter-mile visibility. So these are like whiteout conditions in this part of the country. And we've got winter storm warnings in parts of Nebraska, South Dakota, as well as North Dakota, and then eventually into Minnesota. But there's also a Northeast component to it as well, and in New York, into Vermont, into New Hampshire. So if we take a look at the latest NAM, it shows that deepening low. If that first low, there's also going to be a secondary low that's going to be forming on the southeast side. But these isobars are really tightening up. Again, winds 35 up to 50 mile per hour at time, dumping heavy snow in this part of the country. If we take a look at the wind gust, you can see these are wind gusts, sustained winds at 35, even approaching 50 mile per hour at times, and these whiteout conditions. So even in areas that it might not even be snowing anymore, it still has that blowing and drifting snow. So it's impossible to even drive in this part of the country. But if we take a look at the water vapor imagery, we see a dry slot forming in the middle of the country where it's on the north side, where we've got that northwest flow pumping in, tightening up those isobars, pumping in that, really blinding heavy snow on the north side. But we've got a dry slot in the middle, but also with these warm air out of ahead of it, ahead of that cold front, dew points are well into the 60s. There's also going to be a severe weather component to the southeast side as well. And if we take a look at the latest Storm Prediction Center, we can see they've updated and put a slight risk of severe weather of hail, high winds, and possibly even tornadoes. I wouldn't even be surprised we see a tornado watch like we did yesterday in Oklahoma, and this is swinging southeast. But places like Jackson, Mississippi, parts of Alabama, even parts of Tennessee, you got to be on the lookout for severe weather this afternoon into tonight in this part of the country. But if we take a look and take it out to another frame, this is the latest NAM. It shows that secondary low developing on the south side is going to start in Texas, and it's going to start really deepening on the middle part of the country. We've still got snow from that first low, pumping in more snow in parts of the Dakotas and Minnesota. But if we take it out another frame, it's really deepens Monday afternoon, and places like Marquette, Michigan now are going to be under the gun, possibly even reaching, again, blizzard warning conditions in this part of the country, dumping 6, 10, even to a foot of snow. And in some of these isolated spots, 18 to 20 inches would not be out of the question as this low really deepens down to a 983 millibar. But unfortunately, there's also an ice setup that's going to be impacting parts of upstate New York, and again, you guys, and Vermont and New Hampshire on the northeast part of the country. But if we take it out another frame, it shows that low even deepening further, even 5 hours later. So it's this, again, more heavy snow pumping in, 6 to 12, and a foot of snow, even higher amounts at times in upstate Wisconsin. And so if we take it out another frame, this actually transitions to the northeast. So this would be New Year's Eve now. So this is New Year's Eve morning as it's dumping more snow. I guess the south line would be Chicago, where you might pick up about another inch on the south side. The heavier snow is on just the breaking point of like Green Bay, and then with higher amounts north of you guys, but then pushing into more snow and eventually into upstate, where it'll start off as an ice and a sleet and a freezing rain event in parts of the northeast, will transition to snow on the back side. But if we take it out another frame, we show kind of a mix kind of setting up in southeast Pennsylvania, where I'm not really expecting too much for you guys in Pittsburgh. You could have a slight transition into snow, come Tuesday night, but I'm really not expecting much for you guys in parts of Pennsylvania, but more heavy snow in parts of upstate Northeast. But if we take it out to Wednesday, it kind of it peters itself out. So this is more of a Sunday into New Year's Day, early New Year's Day event, and for that part of the country. But there's also, like I said, there's an ice component to it as well. So out ahead of it, we got that warm surge again for you guys in the Northeast, and you've already seen this before, where the same areas got hit with ice. Earlier on, a couple weeks ago, is going to get more ice in upstate New York, where you can be getting a quarter, half, in some parts, 3/4 of an inch of freezing rain in parts of upstate New York, Connecticut, into Vermont and New Hampshire. So be looking for that. But there's also a sleet. So there's going to be a transition where you have some freezing rain into sleet. And some of these amounts could be 2 to 3 inches in some of the heavier spots in this area. So definitely be looking for that. But on the back side, there's also that snow setup where we've got, this is the latest NAM. Again, this is additional snow. So it dumped more, heavy snow yesterday in Colorado. And this is swinging east. But again, we're parts of like Marquette, Michigan, could receive, 12 to 18 inches of additional snow coming up this week. And if we take a look at the latest, overall precipitation, there's a lot of moisture to work with. So we've got that warm southeast flow coming in off the Gulf. We've got 2 to 3 inch rain amounts in parts of Tennessee and Virginia, and then parts of Illinois and Ohio. But like I said, we got a lot of moisture to work with. So all this will be snow up here. So again, this is, 2 to 3 inches of liquid precipitation. So that's where we can find, even on a 10-to-1 ratio, start getting those higher 20-inch amounts is not out of the question in this part of the country. So if we take a look at the latest Euro, it kind of shows this is additional snow. So a good swath of, 6 to 10 inches in Nebraska, South Dakota, into southeast North Dakota, parts of Minnesota, into Wisconsin and Michigan. And this, again, swing off to the northeast and upstate New York and parts of Vermont and New Hampshire, getting, again, 8 to 10 inches of snow on top of. So you guys in the Northeast are going to get kind of a three-pronged approach of freezing rain, sleet, and then on the back side, a snow event. So just a mess for you guys up there. So that's kind of gives you the latest rundown of the latest winter storm that's going to be impacting the upper Midwest part of the country. So I appreciate you staying with me, and I apologize for my raspy voice coming back from vacation, but it's good to be back and looking at a lot of these weather models, which I love to do. I love to talk about the weather and bring you the latest updates. So definitely subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and share with your friends on social media, and catch me in the next video where I protect you before and after the storm.